Welcome back, guys. BJ the Brave here, back with another Warpforge deck guide for you. And as the Ultramarine raid is live, I wanted to share a couple of updates with you. So first of all, I'm going to go through my Knights deck list. This one's been really cool, revisiting an old deck list which I called Wide Boy. If you want to go back and see that on the channel, and looking at some of the changes recently to UM. I think UM are in a much better place than I was originally thinking, and I'm already like zooming ahead. I think I'm at 2,850 or something, closing in on 3k very fast. I'm also going to share an update to my Uriel deck, and I've got some other decks as well that are in the works. So yeah, let's focus mainly on the. Actually, let's start with the Uriel deck quickly. So here's the Uriel deck. Of my video Uriel Burn is out. It's literally only a few weeks old, so you can go back and watch it. I've been having a little bit of a tinker. I've actually put an Impulsor in. I think the Impulsor's this change, this 3/3 change, it's small, but it's actually significant because it means that your opponent is always going to choose to trade against your low number, right? So basically, if this is just a 2/6, now it's a 3/6, and that's actually a really big difference. In addition to that, things like Calsius is a similar thing. Like when people are trading against him, they're always going to trade against his range attack. Only taking 3 damage. Now they're taking 4 damage, right? So there's just a few things that just really buffed this deck. In addition to that, it already had a pretty good matchup against Sisters, which are still tier 1, but they have slowed down a little bit now with the nerf to Junith, with the nerf to Erica. So what that does is it gives just a little bit more room for these type of aggro burn decks to be even more effective. So those incremental changes added up basically made a big difference. The other one that I'm just testing right now, if you don't have this card or you don't like this idea, you can obviously run another Impulsor, or you could even run Chronus, because Chronus is just a really solid 4-drop, or another Scout. So options there, but I'm just testing this at the minute because the idea with this guy having stealth is he kind of acts like additional burn, right? So if you think about it, you can drop this guy, and that basically means your opponent can't remove it, so it's another guaranteed 5 to face if you need it. Combined with obviously all the burn stuff, that just increases your reach quite dramatically for some big end turns. That's the kind of theory. Like I need to test it more, but this is kind of what I'm running with. Anyway, let's get back to today's guide, which is the Knights. Now, what I'm doing here, as I mentioned, is basing this on my old Wide Boy deck. Chaplain Letharius is pretty cool. One of the things that's good about Letharius is if you've got an empty board, you can draw a card. Yes. With his hero power, so a la Manius Calgar. But what makes Letharius really good is that he has this passive ability that you don't have to pay anything for. None of the other Warlords have that, right? So being able to just strike and heal your adjacent units, that's super unique amongst all of the Ultramarine Warlords, and it's kind of one of the things that really sets him apart at the minute, I think. What we're doing with this deck is we are building a board. It's going low and wide, and it's similar to the Uriel deck, but it's not quite as aggro in the sense that we don't have burn. We actually need to keep board with this deck, and the reach and the way we sort of finish the game is a little bit different to the Uriel deck. But let's have a look at it now. The first thing I'll say is, as I'm starting to get my head back into Ultramarines, because I did take quite a bit of time off, because they were so underpowered and they were just the worst faction for many, many months, I kind of just like disengaged a little bit after the Tactical Insight nerf. And as I'm now starting to get my head back around them, I'm realizing like the importance of 1-drops. Honest to God, like if I could put 2 Octavio Infiltrators, 2 Scouts, 2 Oath Moments, and 2 Tactical Insights into every deck, I probably would. Because I'm actually really realizing the power of 1-drops in the way that Codex and things like Tactical Insight works, and even that change to Oath of Moment. In any other deck, you might go, oh, they've moved a strat from 2 to 1, but it's a much bigger deal than that, guys, in this, because of things like Sergeant Telion's Codex ability refilling to 1 energy, so now we can play Oath, or because of Tactical Insights, or because of the fact that, in the same way that Tactical Insight works, where you basically need like a 1-drop because let's say it's E7 turn and you've got, I don't know, only even units and you need to trigger Codex. That's why you need the 1-drop. So 1-drops are just super important, and obviously it's about how many you can fit in. And yeah, I've gone with 1 Oath of the Moment, 1 Octavio Infiltrator and 2 Tactical Insights, but you could easily put Scouts in, you can put double Octavio Infiltrators. I think one Oath a moment is enough. To be honest, I think Oath a moment will be better in a more pure Codex deck. I think in a pure Codex deck, which is one of the next decks I'm making, that double Oath is great. But anyway, we've obviously got the Firstborns. I love the Firstborn. Great 2-drop. It's a good example of a powerful Codex cheap unit that's powerful but fair. That's how I would describe Firstborn. Powerful but fair. Can scale. I love that it gets +1 health because that's what really enables it to scale really well. We've got the double Reiver. Again, one of the units that got a buff recently. People forget, 3 health is the difference between that. You can actually play this thing proactively if you want. Now, what I've done in here is, and this is where this is a bit different to say, like Silverblade's decks, for example, where he focuses very heavily on infantry, runs the 5-drop draw. I'm not running that. What I've got is Scout Bites. I think Scout Bites in a kind of tempo deck are pretty good. Obviously, Swarmlord is a real problem for Scout Bites. He can just clear this on his own, but everybody else struggles, right? Because it's got camouflage, so they can't use their kind of Warlord talents to ping damage, and then they've only got 2 so they from the Warlord's attack, so they can't clear this thing, and it really can cause a problem. So I've got 2 bikes. Another reason for the bikes is they have vehicles, and that synergizes with the Techmarine. Now I've got also double Intercessor Sergeant, 1 Outrider, and double Inceptor in the 3-drops, and then the Techmarine. And again, that synergy with the 2-drop is really, really good. The Techmarine's another card that recently received a buff. Look at the stats on that, guys, for a 3-drop. I mean, what more can you ask for? Even if it doesn't get any kind of synergy with vehicles, that's a really, really solid proactive 3-drop. But we've got the Outrider, which is also a vehicle, which could synergize with it. And we also run a single Knights of Macragge in this. So, again, +1/+1 and +1 to the health. I think that's super good. You do get these board states in this deck where this is just super good. And it's definitely a nice cheeky spell, especially kind of around the kind of mid to late game. And I'll just say on that quickly as well, like, if you've already invested in cheap go-wide units, then your opponent plays something big, you can sort of lose a lot of value in the exchange, but something like Knights of Macragge, it's almost like reinvesting in that investment that you've made of going wide, right? So they suddenly all get bigger, so you can keep up with the bigger units that get played later, if that makes any sense. Sternguard Sergeants as well, I forgot, so you can see lots of 3-drops, lots of 2 and 1-drops, really super low curve. Chronos is fantastic, guys. This card you should be playing now just because, well, look at the stats. I mean, it's one of the best, it's one of the better single card 4-drops. I mean, I know like the 4-drops have gone a bit wild recently with Sisters Rhino and Ultramarines, Banner Bearer and stuff. You can get more raw stats, but in a single card, that's really good, and it's also quite threatening. I think your opponent generally, when they see this, they try to clear it because they don't want Spear Macragge coming out. And of course, if we get the Spear Macragge, we have got several units to benefit from that. And the other thing about Chronos, which again, I've already stressed at the beginning that's important, is 1-drops are really important now in Ultramarines, and so this 1-drop can actually play a role. But don't be scared to like ignore it and not use it if there's a better player line. Double Honor Guard, solid card, solid stats, got the buff, so now it's definitely a 4/5 with Vanguard. Really like that card. Chaplain, also very solid in this deck because we've got a lot of infantry. Now, you could argue that, the Chaplain is not as good in this one as, say, it is in the Uriel deck, because in the Uriel deck I've got a lot more infantry. In fact, I've only got like a single Impulsor, I think, in that deck, whereas in this we have got more things that are like vehicles. So there's an argument that you could take the Chaplain out. One thing that I like, the idea of in Ultramarines now, is I actually think the land speed is pretty good, and for a couple of reasons. One, it got a buff, so 5 fly. Because it's a flyer, they have to trade with the 5, which is really, really good. It trades up well, and the other thing that I really love is that if you take a 4 energy vehicle, what that means you can do is you can play Chronos on 4, then on 5 you can use the Spear Macragge, it draws the 4, and then you can play that as well, so your 5 energy kind of curves out nicely. So you could definitely swap one Chaplain for one of those if you want, but I'm pretty happy with the double Chaplain, even though like, it's annoying that it's only got 4 health, but it's not a bad 4-drop on itself, and there's still enough infantry in here to get like some buff, so I'm happy enough with the Chaplain. We then got the double Impulsor, as I described. I think this is back on the menu now, and obviously Sergeant Telion as well. Then what we've got is 2 Calsiuses, which work really, really well with the tactical insights. And then what we've got is a single tactical doctrine. And this is the new card from the raid. And the reason why I'm running this is because it gives +3, which is potentially a game winner. It's very like Storm of Iron if you've played like Omvarish. And guys, I mean, like seriously, if you've got the Warlord and you can play 2 units with this, that's extra. That's 9 damage for 5. Now we've often played Death from Above, which is 4 damage for 4. So in terms of reach, this card can really help us to end the game. The other thing as well is that you can potentially like run long cards, because we don't run any specific card draw in this deck beyond obviously Letharius' hero power. So also having the tactical doctrine can help you to draw a card as well. I do think that something like Librarian could fit in here again if you wanted to drop one of the 3 drops or one of the one of the spells or even one of the chaplains. You could put the Librarian in. I think that would work decently as well, and it would also give you another draw option. So there's a couple of options in there for you for sure. Let's jump into a couple of games and see how this works. Alright, so here we got a Junith deck. We kick one of the bikes, keep the rest. First turn we drop the scout bike. And as a result, it goes with the Flagellant, which is a nice answer to it. But to be honest, we're kind of happy that the Flagellant's already out already. It's kind of like an emergency player for him. So, like, I'll definitely take that. I feel like we've drawn the Flagellant out there. That's not something that Junith likes to start with. And he's not developing a sister. We're not worried about him praying there. He responds with Amalia. And we're just going to go ahead and drop Chronos and kind of like force him to make that trade. Keep putting the pressure on face. And he goes with a relic thing, so he kind of falls behind on tempo here in order to get this. Now here's the thing, look guys. Because he needs 6 instead of 5, this is kind of like the difference that these tempo decks just have a little bit more breathing room. Normally he'd be playing 2 from now, but we actually created just a little bit more breathing room because of it. Not going to use the Oath of Moment there. We're gonna chill on that for a little bit. Okay, so we'll drop the Firstborn down, and then we're going to play the Chaplain. He goes with a Miraculous Feat, so basically what we're going to do is just essentially... We're just going to like... When he does this, because it's not on a Vanguard, we can still clear his board. That's what you do in this situation. We just focus on building our board, clearing his board, and we're not bothered about hitting face. It's kind of the only weakness to that play. So we can seriously go off there. Wide boy. Now this is a really nice cleansing flame. Look at this, like really nice cleansing flame there, taking those 3 out. So that's a bit unfortunate. But it does mean, minimal development. And we've still built such a good board. Like we went off last turn that we had such a good board that actually we had enough damage to lethal. Even with that like really nice clearance that he had there, it wasn't enough to get rid of it. Alright, so we got Gordrang here, creamy. And like again, like this is one where like sometimes I'd be tempted to kick something there, but because I've got such a low curve and I know I can draw turn 1, I'm confident I'm going to draw into a 2 or 3 there. So, the hand is now pretty nice. We drop the Sternguard. Just keep putting the pressure on. The thing is, Gordrang he's going to be forced to remove our units. In the early, Gordrang doesn't play a lot of units early. So we're actually happy to kind of race Gordrang in this scenario. And of course he wants to be able to swing, so if his health gets too low, it kind of also puts a question mark over him being able to swing. This is really great. Like, once we start seeing things like Warbike coming out to remove as well, then that's taken away from his ability to rush us down. And look at this, guys. So we can play the Impulsor, and we can target, like, many options next turn, particularly Sternguard into Techmarine if the vehicle lives. Be really nice. So Creamy goes really wide here, and then he goes with the Bomb Squid. And he stuns us. Toxin Bonfire, wow. I've seen that used before. So we go ahead and use the kind of Intercessor here, to see whether it blows up or not. Get rid of that, it kills one of his dudes. Now we play the Sternguard, we've got a very good chance of killing one of the Grots here. Techmarine's going to heal this up, give us another Intercessor. And then we can just use the Rhino to kill the last Grot. And everybody say, wide boy. Wide boy. He goes in with the Gretchen mob. Desperately trying to put a halt to this madness. Keeps stunning Letharius because he doesn't want us basically healing our unit, so it's like not a bad idea what he's doing there. But look at this, guys. We've got 7. Remember talking about the importance of 1-drops? We could have played Calsius and Tactical Insight, but instead we actually go, because we got the wide board, we make the use of the Knights, and then we play one of the Tactical Insights. We get another Intercessor. We trigger 2 damage here, and then we go Exhaustion and Rage. Boom! We get the big range attack benefit as buff as well. This deck is just it's just popping off, guys. It's just popping off. The flanker means we can clear this. Pretty much. Yeah, we pretty much got a clear run now. Don't think we quite got lethal this turn, but I mean, we got him down to what, 3? Okay, so he goes with a heal. And of course the used chopper gets him loads of heal back. He goes all the way back up to 16. And he is able to kill our Rhino. The problem he's got now is that we can play Calcius and give everything on the board a nice buff to range damage. Everybody say it. Wide boy. And the Knights do their thing. I've got to say, it kind of feels like, from a lore perspective, this game very much feels like I'm the Orc player, right? Overwhelming him with hordes of Orcs. GG, Creamy. Yeah, so there we go, guys. So a couple of games there to show you. I'm really enjoying this deck a lot. So there you go, guys. That is the Knights deck. Again, this deck, it does have weaknesses. For example, it doesn't have any sort of AoE in there, really, or any sort of hard removal and stuff. But it really is just like a deck that's just built around building a board. It feels a bit like a faster version of like Tyranids in a way. Like, it's all about building the board. If you lose the board with this type of deck, then it's going to be a bit of a struggle. We have got some good flankers that can help get back in temporarily, but it's really about kind of snowballing the deck. So a bit different to the Uriel Burn, but yeah, this is another fun one for you to try and seems pretty decent right now. If you like that, then please hit that thumbs up below, and thanks a lot for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one.